Hello, everybody, and good morning. I keep thinking it's the afternoon, but it's good morning here when we do the live studio shows on MXGPTV.com. Welcome to our sixth round of the FIA Motocross World Championship. This is the MXGP of Europe. We're at Valkenswaard in the Sands, the first sand race of the year, really. And we've got a great lineup of guests for you today. We've got Vlaanderen here from HSF Logistics Motorsport, Arnaud Tonus coming in from Wilvo Yamaha MXGP, and we've got Yamaha's marketing division manager, Paolo Pavesio, coming in from Yamaha Europe a little later on as well to talk about EMX 125s. And before we get started with our first guest, though, Mr. Vlaanderen, Lisa Leyland, we're in Holland. A little bit chillier than last week, but what a weekend it was a week ago in Italy.
Wow. I watched that race again when I got home, and I literally, that MXGP second race, I got goose pimples just watching it. It was fantastic. It was such a great weekend.
And it's going to be another busy weekend here as well, because we've got the introduction of the EMX 125. Should be a fun one for them.
Yeah. First round this weekend. A few new faces in the mix, which will be good. So it's all happening. Busy as always.
Yeah. Well, let's crack on with the show then. And time to welcome our first guest and something of a studio show virgin, Vlaanderen, HSF Logistics Motorsport. Welcome. The first time for you.
Yeah, first time for me. Thanks for having me.
That's all right. Nervous? Looking forward to it?
Yeah, quite nervous with this whole setup. Yeah, but
yeah, just three cameras, a bunch of studio lights, and they're pretty warm as well, eh? But obviously, we're seeing you now popping up in MX2. But brief background for those who are fairly new to the sport. From South Africa originally, you're in Europe. How did you end up here?
Yeah, born and raised in South Africa. Raced in the South African Championship for 15 years, or until I was 15 years old, and then kind of made a decision. If I want to do this as my career, I need to make the step and come over to Europe and race the World Championship. That was always the goal and the dream, to race the World Championship. So at 15 years old, I left home and I lived in Germany for 3 years with a German team. And then I got picked up by HSF Logistics and now living in Holland.
Calvin, you're getting top 10s in MX2 at the moment, but newcomers to the sport probably don't realise that you were third in the EMX 125 Championship in 2013, weren't you?
Yeah, that's right. That was quite a few years ago, I think. I finished, I think the first year I raced, I finished 7 or 8 overall in Championship, and then the next year I was third overall.
And obviously before you came into MX2, a couple of wild cards, that kind of thing. But didn't you have a year off with injury pretty much? Was it 2015? What was all that about?
The first year I came into the HSF Logistics, the first year I would race the MX2 full season, I had, actually the off season was going really well, and then I had a stupid crash and injured my elbow and my wrist, and normally it would only take a few weeks and I'd be back on the bike, but yeah, it took a lot longer than what we expected, and 7 months I was off the bike. So that was pretty much the whole season I was out. Well,
you are a pretty firm fixture in MX2 now. Cast your mind back to Leon just a few weeks ago. First race, what a great one for you. MX2 race 1, running up the front.
Yeah, I finally got a good start, and I know I have the speed for the front, you know. So to get a good start and run up with the guys, I know that's where I should be. Actually, every weekend. So it's good to see that. Also, I watched the race on TV, and it was nice to see battling with the guys up front.
How was it running up front? I guess nerve-wracking, but exhilarating at the same time for you.
Like when I got the good start, I didn't. I was, I think, in second for like 5-10 minutes, and I didn't actually realize it until I started to settle in, and that's when I got on pump, because I was like, oh, I'm not used to being up front. These good guys are behind me, you know.
Now, you've had top 5s before now, haven't you? You've been in Lommel, Switzerland and Charlotte. So it's no surprise to see you up front with at the sharp end there.
Yeah, exactly. I had some good top 5 races last year. So I was expecting this year to be more in the top 5, and it's coming every race, getting better and better.
But you just said a moment ago when, you know, you didn't realize until you settled in, you know, where you were in the race and, you know, on pump and things like that. But I guess with it being so early in the season as well, you know, you had those results at the back end of last year. So was it just different because it was, what, round 3, round 4, and maybe you weren't expecting to be up front quite so early, or was it just the nature of the track? It's quite fast there and quite hard as well, isn't it?
Yeah, I did, when I was injured, I came back to Mexico the first race in 2015, and that's also, I did really well there. I think I was 6 or 7 overall. Yeah. So I like the track, I know the track quite well, but I was actually expecting to be that top 5 already from Qatar this season, and that didn't happen. I was a little bit on the back foot and trying to catch up to the guys, and now I'm starting to get more confidence and feel better on the bike, and everything's working really well. So You'll see me more in the top 5 from now on.
Well, I'm glad you said that, because last year when we came here, you didn't pick up points in the first race, but the second race you got 5th.
Yeah.
I think the first race was pretty wet for everybody, wasn't it? But the second one you rode good, started well, and ran up front, came home in 5th. So is this a track that you're looking forward to this weekend?
Yeah, definitely. It's kind of like a home GP for us. Yeah, there's some video of it. I think I was running. I went into 3rd. I think started 6th. I went into 3rd, and then I stalled the bike in one corner. I went back to 8th or something, and then I came back to 5th. So yeah, it was good race. Also for my confidence, that was cool to be up front with the guys. I
noticed from that race as well, when I was looking back over this, you were starting on the left-hand side, just 1 or 2 down, maybe even next to Jeffrey Hurlings. Was that a benefit for you? For someone like Jeffrey Hurlings, who's pretty sort of mastery of the sand, hasn't been beaten since 2010. When you line up against someone like him in the sand, are you kind of thinking, right, I go when he goes, or how does it work?
I don't know. I kind of see him as just another rider.
Yeah.
I don't really see him as a robot or something like that.
Sure.
But I'm not. Sometimes when he's training, he's only a few seconds faster, and then you can kind of see his lines and what he's doing, and that's cool to learn from. Also in these races, when you watch back, you can see what he's doing, something special or something like that. And yeah, as you said, I just see him as a normal guy, and I try to learn from him.
Cool.
Okay.
Because of where you are now, living in Holland and riding with HSF, you did say you lived in Germany for 3 years. Would you say this is more your home GP because of the team that you're on, or do you kind of still think Germany is home for you, home GP, because that's where you first moved to when you came over from South Africa?
No, I think Holland is now my home. Obviously, I have a Dutch passport and ride with a Dutch license. Okay. That's why I have a Dutch flag next to my name.
Yeah.
And I live now in Holland for 3 years, so I kind of feel like my base is Holland, and I live in Holland, so Holland is a home GP for me.
Cool.
Cool. Okay, well, we have a question for you on social media, Calvin. Emils Kalkland says, how has your preparation been for the 2017 season? Has it been any different to other years? And he wishes you all the best of luck.
Any different? I think not really different. I had an operation on my knee, and I had a small crash in Glen Helen last year, and I tore my ACL. So that took 3-4 months to recover, to get back on the bike. So I started really late with the preparation for 2017. So that was a bit of a setback. But other than that, just hard work and hard work. That's pretty much what I've done.
Based on that surgery then, just picking up on that question, you said 3-4 months off the bike. So when did you actually start riding then? Because the season only just began at the end of February.
Yeah, I think I started December. I started maybe halfway through December, something like that.
And
it was quite fast, because normally it takes 6 months for an ACL.
Yeah.
But it took about 3-4 months after the operation. Straight after Glen Helen, I went back, had the operation, and then after 3 months, I was ready.
All right. Before we let you go, just one real quick question. Team's pretty much similar, the same as it was last year. You and Brian, obviously he's not had I won't say he's not had a great start, but not kind of where we expected him to be. And Davey's obviously off at the moment. When do we expect to see Davey back? Do we know?
Davey got the bad news from the doctor this week. He has to have an operation on his shoulder.
Okay.
So Tuesday he goes for operation, and I think he'll be out for another two months.
Okay.
So you won't see him for a while, but I'm sure he'll be back soon.
And obviously you haven't been out on track yet, but just walking around. I saw you walking around this morning.
Yeah.
How's it looking?
Looks good. I'm excited to get out there. Valkenswaard's always a nice track. Looks a bit hard at the bottom. The top is a little bit sandy, but the bottom looks quite hard, I think, from the rain last night.
Yeah.
But hopefully with all the riders and the people going on the track, it'll get softer and more technical.
All right. Thanks then to our first guest, Calvin Vlaanderen, HSF Logistics Motorsport. All the best for this weekend and the rest of the season, Calvin.
Cool, thank you.
Right, before we meet our next guest, Arnaud Tonus from Wilvo Yamaha MXGP, let's see what happened a week ago in the MXGP of Trentino. Here's highlights from MX2 Race 2. MX2 Race 2, and charging down into the Star Straight once again. This time it was the number 61 of Jorge Prado who grabbed a foxhole shot by a comfortable margin over his teammate. Bernardini once again buried inside the mid-pack. Siwa, a much better start for him this time, as he went after valuable championship points after losing the red plate and the championship lead in race 1. Siwa, down in 4th place, was coming under pressure from the 64 of Thomas Covington, the American, and winner last time out in Leon. And it wasn't long before the Rockstar Energy Husqvarna charged his way past the number 91 Siwa didn't know it was coming, and it was a surprise move from the American, who then went after Julian Lieber in a battle for third, which would take the entire moto to achieve. The two KTMs, though, once again at the head of the field, but this time it was Prado who was running away with it, as Covington found a sneaky little move down the inside of Lieber to push himself into third. Siwa was still fourth, and his teammate, Thomas Kjær-Olsen, was fifth, but in the same lap, Thomas Kjær-Olsen barged his way past Siwa and Lieber to move himself into fourth. Lieber would remount and eventually come home in fifth place, as Prado started to feel the heat from his teammate Jonas on that number 41 Red Bull KTM. Thomas Kjær-Olsen pushing a little bit too hard, ended up tasting the dirt. He would come home in sixth, handing vital points to Jeremy Siwa on the Suzuki World MX2 machine. With the crowd on their feet, it was a showdown on the final lap until that mistake from Paul Jonas allowed Prado to disappear and go on to take his first ever race win in MX2, and with it, the overall Grand Prix victory. It was a Red Bull KTM 1-2 with Prado standing on the top step of the podium. Jonas was second, and Julian Lieber on the podium once again in third. But Jonas is the new championship leader as we head into Valkenswaard, round 6, and what was a very emotional day for the young Spaniard, Prado. Can he do it again in Valkenswaard? Welcome back to our studio show here, round 6 of the FIA Motocross World Championship, the MXGP of Europe at Valkenswaard. And our second guest has joined us, Wilvo Yamaha Racing MXGP rider, Arnaud Tonus. Good to see you again, and great to see you back in the MXGP paddock. Are you enjoying it so far?
Thank you. Yeah, I do enjoy it, especially when you have those kind of races. It feels good to be back like at this level. It's been a long time for me. I've been through some ups and downs, but overall I'm happy to be back here.
How much of you coming back to MXGP would you say was unfinished business? Because before you went to the States, you were a challenger, weren't you, in MX2?
Yeah, well, it was on my mind for sure to come back one day here, but to be honest with you, it was maybe a bit later than that. I had some kind of struggle in America, and it happened maybe a little bit earlier than expected. But anyway, I'm on a great team, and I'm happy to be with those guys. It feels like I'm right at home with them, and with the bike also, so it was the main part for me, finding a good team and being back in this atmosphere. I like it.
Well, we'll talk Trentino in a moment for the obvious reasons, but how have the first 4 Grand Prix before that gone, starting with Qatar?
Qatar's been, I had a good first moto, felt like I was in the rhythm, I was riding pretty good, and the second one was tough. I had 2 crashes and one was kind of off the pace. And with those kind of guys riding, you have to be at your top, and I felt like I wasn't at that moto, so it was not easy. Then Indonesia, I think it was tough for everyone, but for me also, I had 3 crashes and spent more time on the ground, I think, than on the bike that race. But for the rest, after I felt like Argentina was good riding for me. Just had some mechanical issues and a bit of a problem, but I felt the rhythm was there, and then since then it's been good races. Mexico was great, and Trentino was awesome.
Trentino, everything just seemed to come together for you, didn't it? I mean, you had a great first race, a good battle with Tim Geiser, and a podium at the end of it. It just clicked, didn't it?
Yeah, it was really, it's the word, I think it clicked. Everything went together, and I kind of didn't expect that podium because I was fighting through that second moto, and my mechanics told me you have to pass Gauthier to be on the box, and I was like, trying to go for it, and did a few mistakes, so it was not easy to like end up the moto like this. And first they stopped me at the noise control, so I was thinking it was for the podium, but no, it wasn't, so I was like even more frustrated. And after that I realized Tony passed Barbashev, and that put me on the box, so I was a bit lucky on this one, but it's also cool to have the luck on your side sometimes.
Absolutely, yeah.
Yeah, well, it was. I remember listening to you in the post-race interview saying, you know, they're saying, pass Paulin, and then you're on the podium, and then you didn't pass him.
Yeah.
But it was, yeah, thanks to Tony.
Thanks to Tony, but after that, I kind of thought about it a little bit, and I also passed Tim in that first moto, and that put also Tony as a GP winner.
Sure.
So I think we work as a team on that GP maybe.
Good job. Good job.
So who buys dinner first?
It's not fixed yet.
Not yet. Okay.
You've previously won in MX2, so you know what it feels like. How far away do you think you are to winning an MXGP?
I think I still have to work on a few stuff for sure. It's a different class. Guys are a lot more experienced. You see, like Tony has been here forever, and all those young guys are hungry. But I think I'm a part of them, and I want to just get better every weekend. I'm not really so focused on the result. I just want to bring the best that I can and be solid and give everything I have.
Well, yeah, go on.
So here is your first GP win in Brazil. Is it something that you still look back on? How do you feel when you're watching that now?
Yeah, it's kind of emotional still because it was a moment where I also came back after many injuries. I had a leg problem for a year and a half, almost 2 years, and it was the first time it clicked again, and it was a great weekend. Everything seems to be easy when you're on that kind of mood. Everything's clicking, and yeah, I was really happy. Overall, it was amazing. We also had fun during the week. I felt like it was a holiday week that time.
And you came away from there with the red plate as well.
Yeah, I came like. Also, this was special because I think I was maybe 4th or 5th before that race, and I think well, Jeffrey was not riding, and Dylan had some issues, and yeah, it put me on a great position for that red plate, and I kept it for maybe 2 races. It was good for me.
Just briefly. Back to Trentino last week, obviously we saw you battling up front, got your podium. Would you say that obviously the track was to your liking, but are you more of a hard specialist or a sandband? Because, you know, looking from the outside, we see how gifted you are and how talented you are on a motorcycle. So some of that is going to be down to that, but you can transcend both.
I think surfaces. For sure it's more about how you feel in general, not really the track. If you're in a position to where physically you're good, mentally you're solid, confident, you can be good on any track. Especially, I mean, I've been training on those kind of conditions also in the sand. Or I'm born on hardback track, so it's maybe more natural for me, but I think I'm in a position where I can be good on any surface.
Okay, well, before we start getting to social questions and that kind of thing, we've got a guess and win competition coming up. So how about winning with Twin Air of all people? Check this out. So this weekend, during the MXGP of Europe, we're back on the competition trail where you could win some Twin Air goodies, a copy of MXGP2, the official MXGP video game, and an all-season pass to MXGPTV.com. All you have to do is guess the top 3 overall in the MXGP class. The competition ends tomorrow, which is Sunday, April 23rd at 5 o'clock. So if you want some of those Twin Air goodies and everything else on screen, then enter, and you'll find more information on mxgp.com.
Okay, so just before you go, Arnaud, we have a question for you on social media. This one's from Softcham. I think you might have touched upon it earlier, but he says, why did you come back from America? And he can't wait to see you again in Frauenfeld fighting.
Well, why I came back? I came back because physically I wasn't in the best shape there. I had a lot of trouble, and I was not in the best position to find a good spot for the year after there, and I kind of had better opportunity to come back here, and I felt like it was maybe also the time to move up to a 450 class. I felt like even there I had a great bike, great team, but I was kind of heavy for that class, so I think it was just the right decision, and I'm happy I made that move, but for sure, I wish I could have done a bit better there, but it's a part of the sport. Sometimes it doesn't go your way, and that's the way it is. Just got to rebound and make the best out of it.
Well, we're happy to have you back.
Thank you.
Sure.
Appreciate it.
And of course, he mentions Frauenfeld there. Last year we were there for the first time in Switzerland. A great atmosphere. I don't know if you saw it on MXGP TV or, you know, they'd put the grandstands in. The organisers made a really superb effort. Guess it goes without saying, really. You're looking forward to going there a little bit later on. We saw Jeremy Seewer in some limited edition race kit. Are we going to expect anything similar from you?
I hope so. I hope it's a message for Fly. They would do something. No, but yeah, it looked like a great GP even from the outside. I watched it live, and it looked amazing. And like you said, the way the crowd was made there, it seems like everyone was into it, and especially Jeremy rode great. So it bring everyone on fire, and I hope it's going to be the same this year.
How important is it to you as a Swiss rider to have a home Grand Prix, because you've never done one before? I
never. It's great. It's something a bit new. Like you said, I never had it before, so I'm just looking forward to it. The Swiss crowd is kind of quiet, but they follow us. You know, they come all around. Even in America, sometimes I just see some guys with the Swiss flag. You like, they don't really come to you, but they're here and they support you. So I'm looking forward to see them live and like share the experience together.
Well, they made a lot of noise last year for Jeremy, so hopefully they'll make a lot more noise for you as well.
Yeah, thank you.
And of course, Arnaud, Tonus, Wilvo, Yamaha MXGP. All the best this weekend and for the rest of the season and your home race later on in the year.
Thank you very much. See you guys.
All right, time to meet our final guest. But before we do, let's check out what happened. Here's highlights from MXGP Race 2, the MXGP of Trentino. And what a great one it was as well. All eyes were on Antonio Cairoli at the start of race 2, but it was Tim Geiser who nudged the Italian wide to grab the foxhole shot. Cairoli then, in a hurry to get back on the gas, spun out at turn 2. When he remounted, he was in 22nd place as he crossed that Monster Energy finish line, leaving Geiser the clear track ahead of him with his teammate Bobryshev in second, and Jeffrey Hurlings, a rare good start for him this season, found the Red Bull KTM rider in third. Arnaud Tonus was putting in the charge. He made his move on the number 12 of Max Nagel to get himself into 7th. Would have another attempt to make it stick just a few corners later. Cairoli was on the charge. Had 1 or 2 problems in the early stages, but once he found his rhythm, was past the 22 of Kevin Strybos to go into 10th. Paulin, meanwhile, pushed his way into 5th with that pass on the 259 of Glenn Coldenhoff. Jeremy Van Hoorbeek was next. Cairoli making that move on the Yamaha rider to get himself into 9th in what was turning out to be a fine display of riding from the 8-time champ. As Tonus started to advance further up the field as well, into 6th place. Cairoli then pushed the German wide. That was Nagel being pushed down. The German would eventually drop to 9th place as Cairoli then went after his teammate. Took him 2 laps to get past Coldenhoff, but once he did, he was up and running in 7th. Bobryshev was doing a great job in 2nd, but Cairoli wasn't taking anything from anybody. He was relentless in his pursuit of World Championship points. This pass on Tonus was the turning point, though, for the Italian. He got himself up into 6th with that pass on Tonus. In the same place, a lap later, it was that move on Paulin that got Cairoli into 5th. Guess what? He wasn't done yet. Clement de Sal was next, in exactly the same place on the track. Cairoli now up into 4th, and the overall Grand Prix victory was looking good. He found his way past Jeffrey Hurlings to go 3rd. That would tie him for the overall with Tim Geiser. But one more move with just over a lap to go. And Cairoli was past Bobryshev to get himself into 2nd in what would turn out to be a Grand Prix winning position if he could stay there. Tim Geiser couldn't do any more than he was doing. He took the race win, but it was Antonio Cairoli who crossed the line for an impressive victory here in Italy, doing almost the impossible. But Cairoli took 2 points out of Geiser's lead this weekend in what was a very memorable Grand Prix indeed. Geiser now 18 points clear of Tony Cairoli after 5 rounds. But what a day for Antonio Cairoli, his fans, Claudio De Carli, and everybody at Red Bull KTM to stand on the top step of the podium here in Italy at round 6. Next stop, the sand of Valkenswaard in the Netherlands. So that was just 1 week ago, the MXGP of Trentino, and what a great one it was as well. But our final guest is here, Mr. Paolo Pavesio. He's the marketing division manager for Yamaha Europe NV, and welcome back to the studio show. Second time for you, I believe. But,
yes, nice to see you again.
I know you're a very busy man, you know, all over the place, different hats in different departments and that kind of thing. But, you know, what have you made so far of the MXGP and MX2 World Championship after 5 rounds?
Of course, it's a challenging championship. It's a challenging season. The level is high, most probably as never before. Yeah. But we are here to try to win and to give everything to our riders to be in the position to win. And in GP, for sure, our strategy to enlarge the, let's say, the lineup and to go for a second official team has been correct, because we got a nice victory from Sean Simpson, Tonus is really, really growing fast, and we're very happy about the choice, and the Vilvo team is strong and consistent. So I would say even over expectation, if you consider the speed of the two riders now. The factory teams is always our factory teams. They are there to chase the victory. Of course, it's challenging. We're very happy with Jeremy's start. Romain is struggling a bit, but we have just to work and to give him everything we can to be back where we know he can be.
Well, the last time you came on the studio show was to talk about the YZ125 Cup. How well was that received last year? And is there something similar happening in 2017?
Yes, for sure, because at the end, it's all about consistency and growing things year after year. We don't want to do in and out on this kind of activity. Last year, the story was started trying to build up something that are making for the riders easy, or let's say possible, to arrive to the European Championship, starting from the national ones. So basically, the story is we give to all the Yamaha guys racing in national championship with 125 machine possibility to apply to the challenge. Through the challenge, this year we have 81 riders in 15 countries. They can access to a European final. That, as you know, this year is going to be very special. The best 6 guys, they are going to go to a master class, and the best guy is going to be selected to be an official rider this year. So it's very fast. In 1 year, you can come from a national championship to the European, but also we believe that the final race, or the really YZ125 Blue Crew Cup in Metro Basin at the Motocross of Nations, is going to be something really special.
Well, that is going to be. I was going to ask you where the final was going to be, but you just said. So that's all official now. Matterley Basin,
yes.
Same weekend as the Motocross of Nations.
Yes, in the same weekend. So I think for those guys, it's going to be a dream to race in front of that crowd in that situation. I know it's a track you also remember well, sure, with the 125 machine a few years ago. So it's about building dreams. It's about helping the guys to enter in the, let's say, almost professional level. Then it's about them proving that they can stay there. Our dream is one day to have a Blue Crew guy coming from that program arriving to the factory team. Why not?
Last year's winner was Tim Edberg, and his prize was to have a team ride in the EMX 125 Championship that starts this weekend. Yes. How is he settling in so far?
I think Tim is exactly the example of what can happen. No? He was racing national. He's starting EMX in the official team this season. I think the pre-season was pretty well for him. Now we have to see. This is the first race. We are confident. He has shown progress. And we're talking about, I don't want to say kids, but very young men, 15, 16-year-old. So for them, it's about getting the right package to grow into the professional world and have opportunities. Now, team, but also the other 2 guys, they have to prove what they can do on the track. We are preparing everything around them. Also from this year, we have Steven Frossard coming to MJC team as a sport coach for the riders. So we try to take care until MX2. In every team, there is a former top professional rider also taking care of the training of the guys, because it's all about this, to grow until the peak. And then you have to play your game.
Yeah, well, just in this clip, there are 2 other guys, Thibaut Benistant and Rick Elzinger. Where do they fit into the Yamaha program at the moment?
Of course, they fit perfectly. They're also proven in the pre-season to be pretty fast. So we don't want to put pressure on those guys, but of course, when you enter in MJC team in 125 EMX, you are challenged to be with the faster guys on the track. Then the difference to win or not is always very thin, and it's always about the rider putting that extra mile. It's still a sport.
Yeah.
Well, obviously, it's great to see the 2 strokes making an impression again as well. Just one question. I heard you a moment ago talk about Blue Crew. What is Blue Crew, real quick?
Blue Crew, it's basically the group of people that are growing with Yamaha. No? We want to give this sense of community. We want to give opportunities to our non-professional riders to grow inside the sport, to potentially become professional. But most of all, we also want to give people possibility to have fun with bikes. The program is in motocross, we have just described, but is also in road racing from this year, and is very similar. We will select from the national teams, national championship, the best riders, giving them access to the World Championship with 300cc. So it's all about getting opportunities, having fun and getting opportunities and remaining inside Yamaha family.
All right, Paolo Paveggio, we are out of time, but thank you for joining us here again. Enjoy your weekend. What is Yamaha's home Grand Prix?
Yes, almost home Grand Prix.
Thanks to all our guests, Paolo Paveggio, Arnaud, Tonus, and of course Calvin Vlaanderen a little earlier on. It's going to be a busy weekend here, a big one as well, because in the past, Jeffrey Hurlings has never lost in MX2. Of course, he's in the class with the big boys this weekend, MXGP. Can he keep that streak going, or will there be another sting in the tail in the Premier class? Of course, you can catch up with the MX2 qualifying and MXGP qualifying races live on MXGP TV today at 4:25 and 5:10. That's it from us. We'll see you in a couple of weeks when we go back to Latvia. Enjoy the weekend. Thanks for watching. See you next time. Bye for now.